Let me check. Just waiting for the link to be available on YouTube.
Hello. Hello.
Here it is. All right, I think we have everybody. The link is live. Sent it in Telegram. We can start. Martin, do you want to start with the daily updates?
Yeah, so I've been working on the different areas to focus. So I have a rough idea. I'll be going deeply into each area with like all the features that are included for all like everything that should be tackled by that area. And I also was reading about checkpoint sync and all that stuff, since if you want to avoid implementing all the forks from phase 0 up to Capella, like the way to avoid it is to do a checkpoint sync. So yeah, that's one of the features I think we'll have to support earlier than later. So yeah, I was trying to understand, and especially the interaction between the execution client and the consensus client. There's a good blog post from Prism. I can share it with you guys later if you are interested. That's it for me.
That's awesome. Having checkpoint sync would allow us to avoid like implementing everything for the different forks. So it will be a very good speed up to getting sync and to getting the consensus clients up to date with the current state of the beacon chain. That would be awesome.
But at like the final state of the beacon of the consensus client, we will need to have to implement all the forks, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll need to be able to sync the whole thing. But it's just for now, we can just sync from a checkpoint.
It depends. It's debatable, but yeah, I think it's something we have to worry about right now.
I see. But does it mean that what I mean is that all the clients, you can sync them from a checkpoint, right? So you just consider like the latest checkpoint and you like download from there. But if you, how to say, like if it's the only way we can sync and we cannot sync like directly from the whole start of the state, then we'll there's some things that won't be implemented in the client, right? Or am I?
I think it depends. It's a very good question. If you're running an archive node, then you will need more features. Like if you, for instance, want to sync with the beginning from the beginning of Ethereum until now, and you want to run a node that like a full node that has that capabilities, probably a checkpoint sync won't be enough. But I think that the amount of people running archive nodes is not as big as like regular full nodes. We definitely want to support that at some point in the future, because if like we're not going to be like a complete consensus node if we don't have that. But I think it speeds up the whole coding process a lot. Like not depending on having that in place before having like a basic sync. Like being able to be up to date with the latest changes is great, even if we don't support archive nodes for now. Eventually, lower priority, but we'll definitely want to have that. Like maybe after we have a working full node integrated with other execution clients like like Geth or Eth or whatever. Like after we have that full thing working, it would be nice to support different types of sync. But it like I think that this change, like this thing that Martin found, is useful to avoid doing that as a first priority, and we can prioritize other more important things before for now. And eventually, I fully agree. We need that at some point for the fully featured node.
Okay, yeah, very cool.
Awesome. Paul, do you want to continue?
Yeah, sure. So I've been working this morning on the contributor package to try to onboard newcomers and help them get a little bit more information on like what they need to learn or what they need to understand or what they need to install before being able to contribute to the client. And then I'm finalizing my readings on the E2 book before jumping into the annotated specs. So as I was saying, like holistic view before like diving deep on specific thing. And I've also started reading different PRs from Thomas and looking into implementing the execution payload and execution payload header, implementing the SSZ serialization and deserialization for these two types that I will be using while implementing the process block function, and we'll need it to be able to send information to the execution client through the engine AVI. So that's the main thing that I've been working on and researching today.
That's cool. I think it's great to finish the research. So, like, I fully support you reading to have a more holistic view. Um, yeah, that's awesome. Great updates, and thanks for writing the contributors package. That's extremely useful. Tomas, do you want to continue?
Yeah, sure. Yesterday I started the day creating issues for each type in the each container in the consensus specs in the beacon chain markdown document that we were missing. Um, After that, a tracking issue, and then finish the PR I was working on and split it into two, leaving apart the part about the failing one type that was failing serialization. I left it as a draft PR. Later, after university classes, I continued working on the. I started work on the gossip example. Um, I managed to make it work, but I couldn't get more than just a dump of 480 kilobyte dump of a signed beacon block. Now I left it running with trying to get some attestations from a subnet. I think those will be less, will be of a lower size. They will be smaller. And now I'm working on moving that into the bindings we have for libp2p. That's all.
That sounds amazing. Just to clarify, are you saying that you're already getting blocks, even if it's their binary representation?
I got just two from from like 5 attempts. Um, I don't know if they are blocks. Maybe they are just random, some random data they gave me. I tried deserializing it, but well, I tried deserializing it, and the simple serialize util I was using uh, said it was like too big, and it still needs to be decompressed. I mistakenly was trying to deserialize it, so the resulting data might be bigger than that. So I guess it was just a peer, like a faulty peer or a bad peer, just just that.
Okay, I mean, first and foremost, awesome that you already have some data getting through Gossip Sub, because I
Yeah.
think that the most important part of the task was making sure that we could subscribe and get data. So I'm surprised by the speed, like given that you started this like yesterday afternoon. So congrats on that. Uh, and if I think that you're not blocked at all from what I'm hearing, you're just like running into issues that you are being able to solve. Let us know if we can be of any help, like if you want some orientation or whatever. But from what I'm hearing, I think that you're just debugging, right? Or let us know if you're blocked in anything.
No, well, I was just leaving it running in the background while I worked on the bindings. I plan to see if some messages get through. If that happens, I'll try to decompress it and deserialize it manually and see if it's a valid attestation. What I'm afraid of is that I'm not like passing the topic correctly. It's just a string, but maybe I'm forming it incorrectly. Specifically, one part is the fork digest value, I think they call it. It's the beginning 4 bytes from the fork digest. That's the uh, it's computed from the genesis the root of the validators at the genesis state, and some other value, it was the fork version.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. That's great. I think that's like a lot of info for me to process in the daily, but like those are very interesting technical details. I think that they like you will get more attention to them even for like by myself in an issue, but only if you think that they are necessary. Like if you for instance are having trouble and you don't know how to continue next, you can just write your progress in the issue and then we can continue the technical discussion for
Yeah,
that.
sure.
I mean, it's great that you have all of these things in your mind, but the only thing that I'm saying is that at least for myself, I'm not able to process all of that like just talking out loud in the daily. I'm not that capable yet. Maybe at some point in my life, but I can process all of that in an issue if you want to write it down.
I'll try to see if it works. If it doesn't, I'll try
Yeah.
to write it in an issue and we can work together on that. But just to sum up, some parts of the topic or the selector for the kind of gossip you want to hear are variable and don't just uh, specify the kind of message. It has just some parts that depend on the fork and things like that. I'm just afraid of those things not being the correct ones for the kind of fork, for the Capella fork
All
and the
right. Yeah,
mainnet.
I get that. Okay, let's try to solve that, and if you get stuck, then we can continue the discussion on the issue. But great progress. Anything else?
Nothing else.
Awesome. As for me, I was yesterday. I was mostly doing some research on attestations. We were talking with Martin about the roadmap, and at some point we ran into a question, which is like we had a twofold question actually, which was, hey, when are attestations generated outside of blocks? One, and the second one is like, what are they used for? And well, he asked in Discord. We got some very useful answers for people working at Prism. And then on my side, I did some research. I read chapters of the upgraded Ethereum book related to both like committee generations and aggregators. And I think that we have a very clear answer to both of those questions now. I added like a small summary in Telegram, but I will add it in the docs as well. But yeah, like fortunately, like we now know that attestations out of blocks are the most common source of attestations. Like you will also get them in blocks, but afterwards, and that they will always be for the block that's previous to the one being generated. Like no one will ever vote for a block that's not yet generated and included in the blockchain. So yeah, I think that's the output of the research that I did yesterday. I will write it in a doc. And now I will work on I think finishing starting the project proposal for the APF, both with the thing that both with like the milestone how's it called, the release plan that we generated, and also like once it's finished with the RS that Martin is working on. But I'm gonna just start the document so that we can have something in place this week, which is our deadline for the APF. I will of course share it as I make some progress, so I won't be working alone. And I think that's it. I think that's it for me. Any questions or comments? I'll take that as a no, so we can finish the daily today. And yeah, thank you all for joining, and see you all tomorrow.
See you.